Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Tonight we have a late night insight video, and this is a specifically targeted late night insight video for a reason. And said reason is that the perfumer of this particular release we're going to discuss today from the house of Bortnikoff is not Dmitry Bortnikoff. It is Maxim Bortnikoff. And I just got word today, which is, what is today? April the 16th of 2024. Today I got word that Maxim Bortnikoff is launching his own house. 3 fragrances are going to come, and so, well, they're not going to come to me. At least I don't think all 3 are going to come to me, but they did say they would send me one, so we'll see which one they send me. I'll be interested to sniff out young Maxim Bortnikoff's work. So in that honor, we are going to discuss, which I should have done a fresh little dab, since this is a little dabber, which I just did. Okay. So today we are going to discuss a fragrance from the house of Bortnikoff called Le Voyage Oriental. So one of the Bortnikoffs that I've been holding off for this exact purpose to discuss. No, I didn't have that kind of foresight. I actually had no clue he was launching his own house. It just happened to be one of the few Bortnikoff samples that I have not reviewed on the channel. I've reviewed a ton of the artisanal houses. Some of my favorite houses to really dive into because they're usually so interesting. Although this one maybe doesn't fall into that category. This one is probably a little bit boring. It for a Bortnikoff anyways. And just, we have to go back in time, because what the website says is they say that this is actually Maxim's very first fragrance that he released. However, I have a theory. I have a conspiracy theory. And with the world the way it is in 2024, it seems like conspiracy theories are constantly becoming conspiracy facts. So this is just one Ram's opinion, okay? So do not hold me to this. But I think Maxim Bortnikoff was filling in for his father, Dmitry Bortnikoff, when he was sick in 2022. Rumor is Dmitry was in the hospital sick for a while, and he was having a hard time running the house. I think Maxim stepped in and created some of the fragrances, especially those colognes that I hated, because there is a jarring similarity to the way the citruses are done. I don't like them. I don't like the citruses in this release, but I'll tell you what they say about it. So top notes are grapefruit, white grapefruit, tangerine, and bitter orange. Heart notes are vanilla, nutmeg, clove leaf, Siberian deer musk, and pink pepper. Base notes are vetiver, Sumatra, and Siam agarwood from Siam. So it says, the House of Bortnikoff is pleased to introduce the young talent of Maxim Bortnikoff with his first release, Le Voyage Oriental. So again, conspiracy theory Ram at work here. Maxim is the son of Dmitry Bortnikoff and trained with his father for several years, as well as formerly undertook training in perfumery in Bangkok, Thailand, before launching his first scent. Maxim's individual eclectic style is evident in his first release. The scent is line with other offerings of the house, but presents a slightly modern, bolder edge that sets it apart and makes things exciting for fans as well as newcomers to the brand. Okay, so first of all, if you have any experience with Bortnikoff's work, if you like Lau Oud, if you like Oud Maximus, if you like Oud Monarch, if you like even some of the other colognes before that shite cologne line that I absolutely despise with the colored plates on it, you will say, what the fuck is this? I mean, is kind of what you'll say, in my opinion. Maybe that's a little harsh, but that's what you'll say. Because this smells nothing like any of those Bortnikoff releases. This is a clean break for the brand. They have gone in a completely different direction with stuff like this, in my opinion. And it's not a better direction, I'll tell you that. They can call it what they want. Eclectic, modern, youthful, whatever it is. The citrus style of the cologne that they are using here reminds me of those colognes I hated from Bortnikoff from 2022. I did a live stream called A Very Bortnikoff Christmas or A Very Bortnikoff Holiday or something. You'll find it if you just go through my live streams from go back to late 2022. You'll find it. So something about the citruses to me smells plasticky and cheap is the best way I can describe it. Plasticky and cheap. And it smells like, you know what it smells like, even now in the opening. When you were a kid, did you ever have a Pez dispenser? I know this sounds like it's completely out of left field, but honestly, that's what it smells like. It smells like, you know how the Pez candies were a little bit chalky and powdery, but they had that sugary, just candy sweetness thing going on. And they were flavored. So they were flavored like lemon, orange, mango, banana, all that different flavors of Pez, right? And if you were a kid and you had a cool Pez dispenser that had, you know, a tiger head on it, a walrus head on it, whatever it is, you would open it up and the Pez would come out. You probably just got a distinct Pez memory. And that is what the vanilla and the citruses mix like in here. It smells like a candied Pez with plasticky citruses. I don't like it. I'm sorry. I just do not like this. It is... it is not refined. It's not, it's nothing like the beautiful sort of Bortnikoff florals that you're used to smelling. It's missing so much, really, is what it is. It's very flat. What ends up happening is that this spicy note, they say clove leaf, but this clove note basically takes over. And when my brain kind of takes that clove note in isolation and tries to kind of spin it around like a computer 3D model, you know, sometimes in video games you can like spin around a weapon or something. If my brain tries to take that clove note I'm smelling and just spin it around in isolation, I like it. Okay, but when you mix it in with the weird Pez candy and the plasticky vanilla, that 3D model of the clove note, which I like, breaks apart. And it basically starts to smell like mustard to me. This fragrance starts to smell mustard-like. Now, that mustard smell goes away, but there's this very strange mustard seed like smell, basically, is the way that I would describe it. Pungent, yellow, brown, yellowish brown aroma with that weird vanillic Pez note in the background. And the vanilla citrus combo with the mustard smell is just gross. I mean, if you would have put this under my nose and you would have said, this is a Bortnikoff, I wouldn't have believed you. Like, if you watched my old Bortnikoff reviews and you listened to me talk about things like Musk Habib, Chypre du Nord, Oud Monarch, Oud Maximus, Lao Oud, all of those old school Bortnikoffs, right? If you smell all of those, even if you know nothing about Bortnikoff, if you just smell all of those and then you smell this, you'll say something's wrong. Something happened. What happened? You know, there's definitely a change. And that change is the perfumer, obviously. The perfumer went from Dimitri to his son Maxim. And I'm not trying to discourage the kid because he is starting his own brand. And I'm a supporter of people starting their own brand and doing their own thing. But I am not a fan of this type of perfumery. I'll put it that way. Hopefully, this was just him getting his feet underneath him, in my opinion. This claims to use real Siberian deer musk. Here, I'll read you the rest of the blurb because I think I stopped. It says, embark on an enchanting olfactory journey with Le Voyage Oriental perfume. This captivating fragrance takes you on a sensory exploration, evoking the mystique and allure of the Orient. Prepare to be transported to a world of exotic aromas and intoxicating sensations. At the very first encounter, the top notes of white grapefruit, tangerine, and bitter orange dance upon your skin. Nothing bitter about this. Pez candied sweetness with citruses. Releasing a burst of vibrant citrus that awakens your senses. The tangy freshness invigorating the spirit, setting the stage for the journey that lies ahead. As the perfume unfolds, the heart notes weave a tapestry of captivating scents. Vanilla, nutmeg, clove leaf, deer musk, and pink pepper come together in a perfect harmony. Well, that can be debated. The velvety sweetness of vanilla embrace you, creating a comforting aura of warmth and elegance. The delicate spiciness of nutmeg and clove leaf adds depth and intrigue, while the essence of deer musk imparts a touch of sensuality. The essence of deer musk. The gentle warmth of pink pepper lingers, leaving a tantalizing trail of sophistication. The base notes of vetiver Sumatra and agarwood Siam anchor the fragrance, providing a solid foundation that complements the journey. Vetiver Sumatra offers an earthy and woody aroma that grounds your senses, adding a sense of stability and strength. The exquisite and exotic agarwood Siam adds a layer of opulence and intrigue, transporting you to a faraway lands filled with captivating tales. Le Voyage Oriental is a perfume that embodies the spirit of exploration and discovery. Its intricate blend of citrus, spices, and precious woods creates a captivating symphony of scent that evokes a sense of adventure and mystery. Allow this fragrance to be your companion as you embark on your own personal voyage, indulging in the allure of the Orient and embracing the beauty of the unknown. Okay, so all of that said, it just a bunch of words is kind of what I hear. None of it actually relates to the perfume from my nose, from what I'm smelling, because this doesn't smell like a Oriental to me. First of all, I like my Orientals bold. This is like Oriental light. This is like Oriental done light, right? It's like the light beer. It's like the Michelob light version of an Oriental if they wanted to go that route. But even bigger problem for me is all of this talk about Siam agarwood, real Siberian deer musk. Well, they say the essence of deer musk. I'm guessing it's real Siberian deer musk. I mean, for 50 mils, $320, and with Bortnikoff's history of using real musks, I would certainly hope if they're saying things like Siberian deer musk that it actually is Siberian deer musk. But that being said, my problem is that the claim of using real Siberian deer musk and real oud, if they say it, it's probably true. You have to believe what the brands say. But for my nose, I don't smell any real Siberian deer musk or real oud. None. Again, if you blindfolded me and said, Ramsey, is there real musk or real oud in here? I would say, no, I don't smell any. It doesn't smell like there's any in here. Now, if it's in here, it's in here. If the brands say it's in here, it's in here. But already we have another shift. You know, Bortnikoff used musk in huge amounts in Muscabib. The vintage woodcap Muscabib is awesome. I love it. Even with the big floral ylang type note. Oud Maximus is amazing. Lao Oud is probably my favorite from the house now that I've revisited them further and wore them more. I love the animalic opening of Lao Oud and that heavy real oud smell. And you don't get any of that here. You do get a big hit of this eugenol smelling clove, okay? Very prominent. When you mix it with the pez and the mustard, it's not very impressive. And you know, most people, you have to understand, from my point of view, as a fragrance hobbyist and enthusiast, most people are going to drop $320 on a fragrance like this because they want to smell the real ingredients that they're not smelling from the mainstream counters, right? There is a reason that they're buying a Bortnikoff, and it's not to smell some modern, what did they say? Bolder edge, whatever it is, you know, youthful edge, whatever they were saying about his work. You know, they're not trying to smell something modern. They can smell that anywhere. They want to smell real ingredients. They want to smell the proper deer musk and proper oud, and I don't get that in this. That is a problem. That's a big problem for me. Because what's the point of going for these brands if they're not showcasing the materials in a way that impresses you? My opinion, my 2 cents. I can't hit it any closer to the heart than that sentence right there. So, you know, for me, that is a big issue. You know, a lot of folks nowadays are being robbed of the ability to smell real ingredients, proper ingredients by these big oil houses and these monopoly brands that make a killing off of using synthetic materials. And they go to these artisanal brands like Bortnikoff for that exact reason. And this is not doing that. It's not doing that at all. So that is disappointing. You know, having a modern edge, I don't know. This worries me. Honestly, this is a worrying development. I am somewhat still tepidly optimistic on seeing what the young Bortnikoff the Younger will put out with his new house, Maxim. But I really hope he learned from, let's say, his first foray into perfume, and it's different. I hope he followed more in his father's footsteps. I'm not saying recreate his father's work, but understand why people would be buying your work. You know, there are perfumers who trained in Gras for a decade, and they don't get a chance to put out a fragrance. And so, you know, you're training in Bangkok. They're not coming to you because all of a sudden at 22 years old or whatever you are, you're a master perfumer. They're coming to the House of Bortnikoff for the ingredients, you know, for the real oud and real musk and real ambergris and all of that. And this says it's in there, but it doesn't smell like it's in there. That's a big problem. So, okay, enough of beating that horse. Enough of beating that horse. Like I said, a concerning twist of fate, let's say. And the other thing that worries me is that this house that he's releasing, this Maxim house, is going to be a little bit like Aton Perfumes was to Russian Adam. Aton is Russian Adam's stepbrother, if I'm not mistaken. His name's Anton, but he has a house named Aton. I reviewed a couple on the channel. I think there's an Aton playlist, if you will. But if you just look up Aton Roxbury, or they did a new one as well. I even forgot about what it was called. But they did a new fragrance just within the last 6 months or so, and I reviewed it on the channel. But Aton is like kind of the afterthought compared to Arise La Dorée. And I worry Maxim will be something similar, a little bit of an afterthought to Bortnikoff. I hope that's not the case. I hope Maxim can find his own footing and release amazing perfumes. But if this is any indication, I'm concerned. So, and again, I don't want to sit up here and act like I'm calling myself some expert on real oud and real musk and all that, because I'm not. I'm just a fragrance hobbyist. But I will say, if you go back through my almost 900 videos now, in the last couple years especially, I started to review more and more of these artisanal house. My guess is that I'm probably the leading reviewer on YouTube when it comes to individual reviews for Arise La Dorée, Bortnikoff, Ensar. If you add all those up, I don't think there's anyone that's reviewed as many focused on as many artisanal fragrances as I have in the last couple of years, and that's because that's where my nose has been taking me. And so while I'm not an expert, I do have some experience under my belt. And you know what else? It kind of dries down. So with that candied, weird Pez, like chalky vanilla, there's this weird cheap hand soap smell from the citruses and the Pez and the mustard. And it's almost like you're washing your hands and you've got this generic hand soap feel. And then you reach over to get the towel to dry your hands. And when you reach over, there's like one of those air fresheners there, those dispensary Glade plug-in air fresheners or something. That is the smell of the fragrance to me. It's not a good image. Glade plug-in air fresheners, mustard, Pez, and plasticky citruses. Not a good combination at all. The oud isn't present on my skin. The musk isn't present on my skin. I will say, I can see the spices and the citruses heading into the dry down, especially the spices. The spices really last into the dry down. And I've got about a 6-hour dry down here. And I will say that if you're a big spice or clove fan or eugenol fan and you really like the way that clove smells, then this is a fragrance maybe to test for you. Maybe you will like it a lot more than I do. I will admit that late into the dry down, that very tenacious spice note, which is mostly clove and nutmeg, but it becomes smoother. It rounds itself out into the dry down. Of course it does, as everything kind of settles down. And probably late into the dry down, it feels the most like a Oriental, but it still feels very light. Oriental light is a really good way to describe it. And of course, the new application 20 minutes ago or whatever it was, my nose is obviously gravitating to that, but now I'm getting more of the plasticky citruses and that weird Pez-like smell. But yes, it's an Oriental light. It does dry down into something more pleasant. It loses some of the weird mustard Pez thing as it dries down. But I mean, like I said, if you would have blindfolded me, never in a million years would I have guessed this is a Bortnikoff. And it's really, the issue for me is it's boring. It's a boring release. I don't think there's anything I've smelled that smells like this. I can't ever remember smelling mustard and Pez and plasticky citruses. But so maybe you could give it a point for uniqueness. However, if you would have put this under my nose and you would have said, Ramsey, this is the new Dior, okay, I probably would have done the exact same thing I'm doing right now, which is, I mean, Francis Kirkjohn, pretty boring, Francis Kirkjohn. You could do better than this. You know, for a Bortnikoff, it should be different. You know, it should be, and not just different in a weird way. I mean, there is this, maybe this Oriental light image is giving me this image of like, maybe like a twilight, you know, like the sun's going down, but it's not dark yet. There's that kind of mixture of sun and light. And so maybe I could see textures coming in. I could see the spiciness really coming down into the dry down. But the fact that if you told me this was a fragrance created by Dior or something, by an LVMH brand, and I would have just shrugged and said, not impressive, goes to show that this Maxim has a lot to learn, is where I'm going with that. And I'm not trying to be hard on the kid, because, you know, I'm not a perfumer. I'm just some guy that loves fragrances, and I'm giving my opinion. And my opinion is that this is utterly boring. The real materials need to be highlighted more. And maybe when I smell his new brand, I'll be extremely impressed. And some of these issues, maybe these issues have already been addressed. Actually, I watched 0 YouTube videos on Le Voyage Oriental, so maybe other people have already said this, and the new stuff is much better. We'll see. I'm excited to try his new house. I won't lie. I'm excited. I'm always willing to give a new fragrance a try. But I love how many reviews of the Bortnikoff brand I've done. If you're interested in the brand and you're new to the channel, I've got an entire Bortnikoff playlist, an entire Arise Ladore playlist, an entire Ensar playlist. So if you really want to dive into the my thoughts on the artisanal houses, there's a ton of content out there for you to check out. So yes, thank you to my perfume god person who sent me this lucky scent vial of Le Voyage Oriental. So yeah, if you have experience with this, I'd love to hear your thoughts. This came out just last year in 2023. It is still available. I think they should probably discontinue this, my opinion. But maybe I'm just being too harsh on it. If there's anyone out there who loves this, I would love to know what you like about this. Do let me know in the comments. But other than that, this is another example of, I think, Bortnikoff veering way off course. And maybe with him being in the hospital in 22 and 23, this was like a stopgap. And maybe Maxim learned a lot from it, and he's going to kind of take off and grow. And maybe now that Dimitri's back in the seat, we'll get the type of fragrances we love again. So there's a ton of Bortnikoffs that have come out. Even new stuff in 24 I haven't had a chance to smell. It's impossible to smell everything, but trying to do my due diligence and keep up. But as always, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Cheers, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.